And it's funny because Mike was wearing a typo negative shirt for anybody watching this on YouTube. Pete Steele. Did you ever shoot them and stuff or what?
No, I never photographed them.
Oh, okay, yeah. And it's funny because one of the career speaking, life altering events for me is connected with that band. It's career, in a sense, life altering, and it went like this. Before there was typo negative, Pete Steele was in a band called Carnivore. There you go, right? So they had the long hair, and it was all this.
That shit is angry.
Yeah, it was crazy. They were from Brooklyn, and if you were from Brooklyn, you knew them, you liked them and stuff. I had shot the band a couple of times.
Oh, no kidding.
Right, and then around the time the second Agnostic Front album came out, Pete Steele wrote a bunch of songs on the Agnostic Front album.
No way, I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you know AF, that one about killing's my business and business is fine. That's Pete Steele. That's not AF. And so he wrote a bunch of songs, and he had cut his hair, and he looked like a punk. He had like a crew cut. So I'm a writer at this time. I'm writing for a magazine called Metal Forces, and I'm supposed to review the concert. And Carnivore, I don't remember if they were the opening or the headline.
It's got to be the 80s.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the 80s. Yeah, this is CBGB's, is the show. So they're the headliner, actually, and some hot hardcore band opened for them. So I reviewed the show, and I gave the hardcore band this great review. And then I said, of the 50 or so people who bothered to stick around for Carnivore, they were treated to, Pete Steele wearing a Fred Flintstone costume because he was wearing this bearskin thing, because that was the image of the band, Carnivore. Yeah. And he cut his hair in an attempt to be punk and all this stuff, and I just shredded the band. So I write the review. It's a magazine called Metal Forces, comes out overseas, but in that community, everybody knew the magazine. If you're into hardcore, you're into metal. So about 3 weeks later, I'm back at CBGB's, the Sunday matinee, and I see Pete Steele.
Sunday matinee?
Yeah, the $5 Sunday matinee. When I was in college, I went all the time, man. All these amazing bands. And I went up to him, and I'm like, hey, I'm John Ricard. I wrote that review of you guys in Metal Forces. What did you think of it? And he said, when I saw it, I wanted to track you down and punch you in the face. And I remember that quote so well. And if you know Pete Steele, what does Pete Steele look like? How big is Pete Steele? You know what I mean?
Pete Steele was 250.
And I'm 135 pounds at that time and skinny. I've never been in a fight. I've seen the Warriors 50 times, but that's about as tough as I am. And I was terrified.
Yeah, that Rocky Balboa, but Brooklyn kind of accent.
Yeah, I mean that's like a real dude. I'm not a real dude. I've got a camera and a pen, and I'm writing about the concert. And what it did, and it was funny because I saved myself very quickly. I was like, I didn't know you'd be offended by that. And he kept going you said we wore Fred Flintstone costumes. That line stuck in him, and for years that followed, because we became friends and stuff over the years. He'd always go, this is the fucking guy that said I was wearing a Fred Flintstone costume. I can't believe you wrote that. It'd be 10 years later, he'd still tease me about that. But the point is, so I saved it. I said, I said, let me, see if the magazine will do an interview with you guys and you can give your side of the story. And thank God, about a couple months later, the magazine ran an interview. It said, John Ricard gives Pete Steele equal time. And we did an interview with him, and it saved. But here's the part that it affected me, and I'm being 100% serious now. This affected me. I was writing before I was a photographer. Affected me for 10 years, seriously. Every time I wrote something after that, I was conscious of the fact that someone was reading it, and that the band might read it. And it changed the way I wrote forever. Prior to that, I was young. I don't even know what age I was, but I was young. And again, it's not like an internet world with all this kind of feedback and Twitter and, you're kind of in a bubble back then in what you were doing. And it just never occurred to me someone's going to read it. That I could be confronted about what I wrote, or that I might have a fact wrong, and someone could challenge me and say you don't have the right to say that.
And he was cool about it, So
thank God he was cool about it. Yeah, but it changed my writing forever. It always made me, for that moment on, I was always thinking what is someone going to say when they read it? Is the band going to see it if I wrote it? And I never in my life was able to write again, as honestly and openly as I wrote that one piece, where I just wrote what I thought was funny and what I thought was true. I could never do it again.
That goes with the saying, this person somewhere out there, this person has a mother, or they have a a brother or a sister.
Yeah, but a lot of times we say that because people are trying to be mean, particularly on the internet. Everybody's just dissing it. Like, I wasn't trying to be mean. I honestly thought like I was doing this great analysis and I'm being funny. But I wasn't thinking like you're saying that he has a mother, that he's a real person, even that he might be hurt or offended, or that maybe I'm out of line and I don't know what I'm talking about, that he shaved his head to look punk. Like, maybe he is punk. What do I know? It changed me, though. It really changed my writing forever, that one article. Like, wow. Yeah, it was weird, So it's funny seeing you.
I got to track down photos of him with the shaved head. I've never seen.
Yeah, I can find that tear sheet. I still have it someplace. Wow. Yeah, it was completely like shaved off. Yeah, but that, like I said, that greatly affected me. And,
in a good way.
I don't know if it was good. It hurt my writing because I was not able to just write.
Right.
I couldn't just write what I thought. I always wrote thinking like, what is the publicist going to think? It just never occurred to me prior to that. And actually I just remember how that affected me. It was, it was odd.
I think it's good.
I hope so. I don't know. I stopped writing eventually, so I ended up doing photography instead. Instead of writing. So that worked out good at least.
Yeah.
So that part.
Photography is much better than writing.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I thought it was going to be easier. What happened to me was I'd spend like 8 hours writing. You didn't have a word processor back then, so it really took forever to write, like on a typewriter and fix it and rewrite it and stuff. And I was like, I could just take a picture and get in a magazine. Why am I doing this? It was so easy, just go and snap a photo. But then as the years went on, I'm bringing lights, and I'm bringing umbrellas and backdrop, and I'm like, writing was actually way easier than bringing all this crap to shoot. So it was funny, it kind of went full circle where like the photography was a whole lot of work compared to what writing would have been,